Hey guys, this is Cut the Nets episode 21. Jeremy is on his way back from his master's graduation, so it's just me and Zach right now. So we got a great day of basketball to talk about. We got my New York Knicks game 3, avoiding going to Cancun. We got the Warriors Lakers game 3, Celtics game 3. That was a wild game. We had the Tatum push off question mark, Marcus Smart having the game winner called off. We got game 4, Nuggets Suns. That was a great game. Suns evened up the series, even with a Nikola Jokic 50 piece.
But that's
Nikola
not the main
Jokic,
talking point from there because Jokic got into a little shoving match with the owner in that sideline.
yeah, shove the owner. And then the Suns GM or some role even defended Jokic. That was
What's this
interesting.
here?
Hey,
What's this here?
Hey, I'm here. What the hell? Do not start a podcast without me. What? Come on,
Yeah, I'm
guys.
fine, man. I don't make the rules.
That's not cool. Guys, come on. I ran 4 miles.
4 miles. What?
Yeah.
I thought you said you were stuck in gridlock traffic because in Houston.
I ran out of gas.
Yo, for 4 miles, you're not sweating a bit, man. Look at you.
Yeah, God bless. You're in great shape.
It's the Jewish blood in me.
Jewish blood, yeah. No, I you know what? Solidarity, shout out.
Hey, you don't talk to a guy who just earns the NBA. All right? I'm better than you. I'm higher than you. Anyways, I love the fact we have this green screen. We have the share screen of the Miami Heat beating the Knicks up in game 3. Oh my God. Anyways, one thing I gotta say is, Jokic, you should be suspended.
Probably.
All right,
Jeremy, I'm gonna hand the floor to you and Brian. If there's anything you need, let me know. I'll be here to chime in.
Okay. All right. Let me catch my breath here. Brian, I'm sorry that the Knicks are down 2-1. Not sure what they're not able to do against the 8 seed Miami Heat. That's just really sad. Also, let me give you some context about the Nuggets and Suns game. I actually know Matt Ishba. I know him. I've talked to him before. It's kind of cool, right? Is it cool? Is it cool? I mean, he's just your typical.
An owner of a playoff team that got shoved by Jokic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, context. I am a quiet quitter of a loan officer. Like, I'm quiet quitting, which I'm not really doing like the mortgage. But when I was serious in the mortgage, I went to loan conferences and stuff like that. I went to the UWM headquarters. Stands for United Wholesale Mortgage. Matt Ishba is actually the CEO of United Wholesale Mortgage, headquarters up in Detroit, Michigan. He is a Michigan State College alumni. I think he played about 3 years from 2000 to 2003. And he is 5'10", so he can't really make it in the NBA, obviously. So he's kind of a short king. But yeah, he's a Nepo baby. He inherited the company in 2013 from his dad, kind of like D. Trump, but he didn't, lose businesses or go default or bankruptcy or anything like that. But yeah, he is your typical run-of-the-mill, motivated, motivational speaker owner who literally is walking with caffeine in his body every single day. He's a bum, honestly.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker! Goes by drops the sledgehammer! Good bucket. Kobe Bryant on a rack attack! Piece of it. Way going right. Giannis Antetokounmpo from Chris Middleton. It's a physical game. Oh, my! Vicious slam in the face of Kawhi Leonard. Explosion, the finish. Down to 3, down to 2, it's a 3. Good! He got it! James Harden, a flamethrower! This guy's unbelievable. He is so fun to watch.
But yeah, this is Cut the Nets episode 21. What's 9 plus 10, Ryan?
21.
You stupid. You're really stupid. It's actually 19. But we're going to talk about, obviously, the Knicks and Heat and Lakers Warriors preview, along with Game 4 of the Nuggets and Suns and Sixers and Celtics. Brian, do you want to start with what's going on right here? This little elephant in the room that has the Knicks down 2-1 heading. It's they're in Miami right now, right? Yeah, they're in
Yeah.
Miami. Yeah. So like
FTX Arena or whatever it's called.
Oh damn, FTX Arena is they're really called FTX Arena?
I
Because
think
if it is, then damn, that's sad. That is sad. Thanks, Zach. Not anymore. I'm glad because what's his name? SPF or whatever his name is. FBF, SBF. It's where Butler plays. It's where
The artist formerly known as the Miami-Dade Arena.
Great, awesome, Zach. Get out of here. So yeah, the Knicks are down 2-1. Are you going to go on your rant, Brian, like you did before, or are you just going to go on more of a somber rant?
I mean, despite being down 2-1, I have every reason to go on an episode 20 like rant, but I just don't think I can channel that anger in. I will rant, but I don't think it will be to the magnitude as last time. But I mean, you see the stats here. We got cooked once again. Randall shot 4 for 15, 0 for 5 from 3. Jalen Brunson 0 for 5 from 3, 7 for 20 from the field. Josh Hart finally started, and he didn't even do it too well, although he got a double-double in addition to Randall. Also, Quentin Grimes has been dealing with injuries. He sucked. Emmanuel quickly off the bench. He sucked. Isaiah Hartenstein didn't even take a shot. The Knicks, there's just so much wrong with them. I mean, they got out-rebounded. They shot 8 for 40 from 3. 8 for 40 from 3. That's 20%. Listen, I am nowhere near a shooter. I think I could have shot 8 for 40 and just give me $1 million. It's unbelievable how bad they were. Criminal once again. Eric Spoelstra is the biggest, arguably MVP of the series with his adjustments of just being able to collapse the paint and not allow the Knicks. The Knicks had 36 points in the paint compared to the Heat's 50. Out-rebounded the Knicks by 2. The Heat didn't even shoot that well. They shot 21.9% from 3, 7 of 32. Like Zach mentioned, the Knicks had 25 bench points. The Knicks' identity all season. The Knicks, in terms of teams remaining in the playoffs, probably have the worst starting 5 because they have no arguable superstar. The Knicks' identity has been their bench. When they get 25 points off that bench, you're not going to win. Game 1, if I had to take a guess, and I don't even know if this is on Thibodeau, if this is on the team or whatnot, but the Knicks are just not motivated at all, it seems like.
They're kind of sluggish.
The Heat, the Heat, I feel like, I don't know if it's the Knicks taking them lightly because the Heat are the 8 seed, but the Heat are a damn near great 8 seed. They always have that playoff mentality where they just play way better in the playoffs than the regular season. Like, the Knicks, I don't know. Just their problem was they always come out flat. Like, game 1 was an ugly-ass loss. That was brutal. Game 2, they won, but they still looked ugly, and that was when Jimmy Butler didn't even play. This game 3 was ugly. They scored under 90 points. Like, now taking like a look at how the Heat did, like Jimmy Butler had 28 points, Bam Adebayo had 17 and 12, Max Strus had 19, Kyle Lowry had 14.
You had a balanced scoring. I mean, compared to the Knicks starting 5, you had a balanced scoring. You want to go back up to the Knicks real quick? Let me point out something that needs to be said. RJ Barrett, minus 32. Oof. Just not that great on the defensive end. His offense, probably not as good as, well, he's been a great player in the playoffs in round 1 and round 2 after those 2 horrible games against the Cavs. He's been great. But this is probably where he kind of came back down to earth. Not as terrible as the first 2 games of the playoffs, but the offense wasn't as good enough to negate his defense. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate that. Jalen Brunson also went 0 for 5, had another 0 for from deep. Randall, needs to shoot the ball better. Mitchell Robinson only got 14 minutes. Wonder why that is. He having any trouble with Bam Adebayo at the 5?
I mean, from like a defensive standpoint, he's generally been good, but the thing is, he gets in foul trouble, just like he always does in the
regular season. Foul trouble. I don't think I got a chance to see this game, so I was asking you if he was in foul trouble. Let me see.
Yeah, Robinson and Randall.
4 personal fouls. Okay, he had 4 personal fouls. Was it early fouls in the first half?
For Robinson, yeah. Randall was kind of scattered.
Gotcha. Okay, making sure. Yeah, I mean, I know that Jalen Brunson will have a bounce back game. I mean, he had a much better bounce back game after having that over from deep. I believe it was in game 1 or game 2. I forgot. It was game 1. And I'm sure since given RJ Barrett's coming out party in the playoffs, he'll have a much better game. But man, I don't really trust Randall. I really don't. He has like the only time he has like a really good game is if he's at the free throw line. Like that's why he was really productive in game 2. He was aggressive. He drove to the basket. He got a lot of shots from the free throw line, and that's kind of his MO when it comes to sharing the scoring among his other co-stars. So I mean, that's kind of my take on that one. Knicks don't want to be in a 3-1 hole. They really don't. This is probably, in my opinion, the best number 8 seed team in NBA history. I mean, I'll just say it right there. The Knicks, who were the 8th seed in the lockout 99 season, I don't think are as good as this team's Heat. Even with Patrick Ewing, I mean, he was in his father time years at the time, but it was a lockout year. The Miami Heat are doing this on an 82-game season.
Yeah, I mean, just like another thing too is Mitchell Robinson at 7 foot and Isaiah Hartenstein, who's I believe also 7 foot, with Hartenstein not even taking a shot and Robinson only taking 2. You have the height advantage over Bam, who's only 6'9". That Robinson should be able to back him down more, or even just like take advantage of the alley oops when the Heat are kind of playing up, kind of pressing, not allowing anyone into the paint. But the Knicks, obviously, game 4 is tonight. Like Jeremy said, can't go down 3-1. Unfortunately, I think they're going to. And I want to talk about, I think the biggest storyline of what angered me the most. Forget that 19-point loss. The biggest thing where I knew the Knicks were going to lose, and Jeremy, I don't know if you heard about it because you said you didn't see that game.
I did see highlights, little scuffle, right?
Yeah, the scuffle. It started with Julius Randle being shoved by Cody receding hairline Zeller.
Thank you.
And then Isaiah Hartenstein gets involved. And Randall, who, keep in mind, has always had this villain persona, arrogant persona. I thought, and I kind of wanted it based on how the Knicks were playing, I kind of wanted him to get up in Zeller's face and be a hothead and kind of try to scare the Heat. I mean, Zach can attest to this. He's a big hockey fan. In hockey, if something's not going your way, you start a fight. You try to change the momentum.
Yeah, but
same could happen. Listen, I'm not asking for a fight because Randall can't afford to get
suspended. They're trying to avoid suspensions, yeah.
Yeah, but at least a little jabber of some words there. Not even that. Randall will try to have his little Joker moment and just sits on the ground laughing. Like
I liked when Jimmy Butler just kind of like danced it away. You know, he just kind of was like kind of shimmying after the scuffle kind of ended. And I'm like, he's very confident. He's got that basketball riz right now, as the kids say these days. So I mean, he just doesn't. He knows like he could take this playoff series up 3-1. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, but the fact that wasn't even happening, is just like that just shows from an effort standpoint that they don't care. Like it almost feels like, hey, you know what? We upset Cleveland. Look at the roster we have. We reached our ceiling. Hats off to us. That's kind of the mentality I'm seeing. Because Tom Thibodeau, the same Tom Thibodeau, Jeremy, we've always talked about, where I've had a love-hate relationship with, the same Tom Thibodeau that is consistent and plays his 9 guys into the water. Now he's down 2-1 with game 4 coming. Emmanuel Quickley's doubtful. He's probably not even going to play. He's now panicking. Tom Thibodeau, for the first time in probably his Knicks tenure, has hit the panic button. And he goes, Derrick Rose might play tonight. Evan Fournier might play tonight.
Oh, if you put Derrick Rose, if you put D Rose, oh my God! Like I got all love for D Rose, and like youngest MVP ever. Really wish he had a much better career given his ACL tear back in the Bulls days. But if you put D Rose at this point in his career, given all the injuries on the court, you're basically waving the white flag. I kinda see
Exactly.
that.
Like, first of all, it's not like the Knicks are a rebuilding team because they're in the playoffs. They won a playoff series.
No, yeah.
Derrick Rose is 34. Hasn't played since April 21st, where he got 2 minutes in that playoff game. Because it was a blowout. But I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head the last time Derrick Rose played meaningful minutes. The last time he got double-digit minutes was, sorry, Jeremy, December 31st in the 20-point win against Houston. That was the last time he got double-digit minutes.
It was against Houston. That doesn't count. You can't say that, Brian. You can't say that Derrick Rose getting meaningful minutes for the Knicks to win a regular season game against the G League Houston Rockets, which probably a Deshaun Knicks starting of all people.
Okay, they're still an NBA
or
team.
Garrison Matthews.
They're still an NBA
or
team.
Bruno Fernando. Like, come on,
I just said the last time that they had he had double-digit minutes. Sorry, it was against your poverty-ass team. They're still an NBA team.
We're getting it. We'll be a playoff team next season. Mark my words, man. We're getting James Harden.
Okay, that's next season.
42-point game 4 and 45-point game 1. James freaking Harden on the team, and also Jaylen Brown, who's playing against James Harden for that matter. Speaking of which, I mean, if you want to move to the Celtics and Sixers, we can probably do that after we get to the Lakers and Warriors preview. Want to do that?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get to the Lakers and Warriors preview real quick. I'm actually surprised about this series because it's been a blowout from this game and a blowout the other game. I don't really enjoy that. Listen, I know that like it's a 2-1 series, Lakers leading, and they're playing in LA. And I'm not really a big fan of that because, of course, I want a game like game 1 where you couldn't tell which team was going to win until the very final couple minutes. But with this game, you kind of have Anthony Davis being inconsistent once again. He's had a really good game every other game. And Charles Barkley said this during their Inside the NBA show last night. He's betting on Anthony Davis being street clothes Davis for game 4, just being passive. It's just every other game he's going to be AD. And then the other games he's just going to be street clothes Anthony Davis. So this is obviously a really good game all around for the Lakers. I mean, LeBron didn't have to shoot that much. Only shot 11 shots. And you got Rui Hachimura with a good game. You had Dennis Schroeder, who's really underrated, probably having one of the most underrated seasons as a backup. And, of course, when he started back then. They played Lonnie Walker, finally, after realizing that Malik Beasley isn't really a factor. Lonnie Walker's always been great on the Lakers, especially off the bench. And with that plus 10, it's really showing that he's a very formidable threat behind the line and also when cutting to the basket. So, Brian, do you think the Lakers will replicate this in Game 4?
I mean, I think so. The Lakers have, I mean, like you said, it's been back and forth blowouts, but who knows? This could be I want it to be a close series, so I want to say no. But the way the Lakers are just generally playing, like if you're winning a game by 30 and LeBron's only taking 11 shots, that just shows how deep the team is. I mean, what's interesting is the Warriors played 13 players in that game. They utilized their whole roster, and so did the Lakers. The Lakers played 15 people. So it's interesting. Both people are getting tons of depth in their players, both teams. But what's interesting is, so the Warriors decided to shake the lineup up a little bit, and they started JaMychal Green instead of Kevon Looney. So yeah. I don't really understand the reasoning for that. Especially
they did that for game 2. They did that for game 2, and that's where they won game 2. So they thought, hey, let's do it again in game 3, and it failed, miserably.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense when you look at a guy of an Anthony Davis who had a quiet game compared to what he's been doing of 25 and 13 when Kevon Looney had in that game won like 20 rebounds. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not Steve Kerr. He knows a lot more than I do, obviously, but I didn't understand that.
I think they
Personally,
should give more minutes to Kevon Looney, whether or not he comes off the bench. Starting JaMychal Green and only playing him 11 minutes, kind of realized the liability he had. For game 2, they had a really good game plan with that, but I didn't, of course, because Anthony Davis. You have to have Anthony Davis being AD in order for the Lakers to win. He's their X factor. It's not LeBron anymore. So for Anthony Davis to play really, really well, he has to. That ensures the Lakers win, and you need to put Kevon Looney on the court as much as you can, even if he's off the bench.
yeah, and I agree. And shout out Jonathan Kuminga, 10 points in 9 minutes. The cum bucket, getting some buckets off the bench.
Wait, is he actually called the cum bucket?
Yeah, it's his nickname, the cum bucket.
Oh, Jesus.
Like the chum bucket from SpongeBob?
Yeah, some SpongeBob, from Plankton. Yeah, but calling it the cum bucket's kind of whack, bro.
I mean, compared to some of the stuff you've said before we recorded.
Jeez. Okay. All right. For the Warriors, I mean, they're being tested. They're down 2-1 against the healthy Lakers squad. The Warriors are also relatively healthy as well. I mean, they got blown out. Bring it to the starting 5 for the Warriors real quick. So Curry didn't really have a good game. He shot well from deep, but a minus 26 is not going to get your team a win. I mean, they held minuses all across the board. The main thing is I think Draymond Green needs to play better on the defensive end because he was kind of lost. He actually mentioned that in his podcast. He was in a lot of foul trouble too. So facilitating, defense, all that stuff. But Curry, I'm going for a 40 point for him. Curry needs to have at least 40 points for game 4 in order to tie this series. And then with Curry being better, he makes all his other players better. Because if Curry, right now at this point in their career, Thompson is not necessarily the player he once was. Draymond Green has gotten older, even though I said he needs to play better. I mean, of course, obviously we all need the Warriors to play better if they need to win. But Curry has to be the player that plays better. He has to be. 23 points is not going to cut it for Curry anymore. They need to either make a lot of stops for the Lakers, which is hard to do given their size, or Curry needs to shoot 40 points. Jordan Poole, for that matter, I've always said he's overrated. I always have. That contract he does not deserve that contract. But if he plays well, I mean, then we'll probably get a really bad stretch of games after a good game from Jordan Poole if he plays well this game. I see the Warriors tying the series. It's been a back and forth series, but I would like to see and hope that this is a much closer game. And I'm sure Brian agrees because for a series to go 6 or 7 games, if each game is won by either team in a back and forth blowout, it's never fun.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say dubs in 7, but
I don't know. Like, it's very, very hard to decide if either team wins this series. It's very hard. I don't know. The Lakers have been really surprising me. I mean, they have a really good roster around LeBron and AD. Got to give thanks to Rob Pelinka for that roster overhaul in the trade deadline. The Warriors, they are the Warriors. They've got that championship blood in them, that pedigree. So you can always ride on that. But honestly, I don't know. It's hard to say. I was picking the Warriors early on this series, but I have seen how the Lakers have just completely torched them on the inside, even with Kevon Looney having 23 rebounds. But I do see Warriors taking this game. I think LeBron takes a back seat because he always needs a back seat. He's 38 years old or 37, around that age. So let's go to the games that happened yesterday. Celtics and Sixers or Nuggets and Suns? Brian, you pick. Which one do you want?
we'll go Celtics Suns. Or
You mean
wow, Celtics Sixers.
Celtics Sixers. That was a blooper right there. Sorry about that. All right. So we've got, this was a game that the Warriors and Lakers need to have. This was a hell of a game to watch. Even if you're a Celtics fan, I am sure that this game was, although disappointing because your Celtics lost, but hey, it was a hell of a game to watch. I'm sure Philly fans are excited about that too. Finally, James Harden has a good game again after game one. Game one, he made sure game one wasn't a fluke. But here's actually my take as to why James Harden's doing so well in these playoff series, and especially this series. For one thing, Brian, he took a 10-day break. He was off the court for 10 days. All right. He doesn't have to be the number one guy every single game like he was in Houston, where he pretty much used all of his energy in the regular season in Houston, being the MVP, having a couple of scoring titles, and that like last couple of seasons where he was like 36 points per game. And we back then we used to think he was durable, but then he got gassed. He got really tired in the playoffs, and people kind of exploited his game. And there was nobody to pretty much cover him. I mean, he had CP3 who got injured with that hamstring in Game 5 against the Warriors, and then Harden couldn't take the Houston Rockets to the finals. You know, so he's had a huge history of playoff disappointments. Yes, Zach, I know 0 for 27 from deep. I get it. Okay. You know what? The rules, what is it? The foul update for the NBA, it didn't apply back then. So Harden would have probably gotten like 10 or 12 attempts at the free throw line because you had Klay Thompson and Draymond Green underneath his legs. Sorry, I got a little mad there. But, you know, when I look at James Harden now, I look at him as a guy who needs to play at his own pace. When he plays at his own pace, he does really well. Yes, he got 42 points and got 45 points and sucked in games 2 and 3. But when you saw him get those points and we saw him play well, he wasn't playing like Houston James Harden. He wasn't quick like he was in Houston James Harden. Yeah, he blew by a couple of guys sometimes. He did. But it wasn't as fast. It wasn't as quick, and that's totally fine. Harden needs to just play at his own pace, play to his own strengths. And he's got Embiid who can get his own shots too. So we've got somebody backing him up who's the MVP this year. I mean, even if I disagree, and I think Brian also disagrees that Jokic should be MVP, but we'll get to that. You know, I think game one, Harden turned it on and realized, hey, I need to carry this team to win. And that was kind of like a latch-just effort. Game 2 and 3, when they brought Embiid back, Harden was kind of like a little bit of he was kind of lost. He didn't really know how to play well with Embiid because of the fact that the game plan was changed. But now he's used to it. In Game 4, he realized I can get my own shots and facilitate, and Embiid can do the same as well. So that's kind of why I think the Sixers won this game, because Harden pretty much played at his own pace and realized both him and the MVP can get their own shots. Brian, what did the Celtics not do, especially with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown?
So obviously, neither Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown really went off. Brown had 23, Tatum had 24. Usually their identity and what helped them get to the second round and what helped them have 57 wins in the regular season is usually one of those two players would have the 23 or 24 points, while the other one kind of erupts for like 35. That didn't really happen there. Also, the Celtics. Sorry, I'm just looking at something here. The Celtics also had more turnovers than the 76ers did. The Celtics had 10 to the 76ers 7. So that's another thing. But Jeremy, I don't know if you saw the game, but the last 3 minutes was crazy. There was the Jason Tatum 3, where it looked like it should have been an offensive foul and kind of had the push off.
Yeah, he pushed off Tyrese Maxey, right?
Yeah, and then Doc Rivers at the end of the game even had a funny answer about that. They were talking about it, and Doc Rivers got pissed off and was talking about it, and just straight up asked the reporter, "He's like, that should have been would you have called that an offensive foul? Like, is that an offensive foul?
The ref was right there too. He was like right behind.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed it.
Tatum.
And then Marcus Smart Harden hits that big three to give them the lead. But then Marcus Smart had a game winner, but then they called it off because he didn't get it off in time.
He was literally he had the ball in his hands when the buzzer beater hit. So like,
no, I agree. It was the right call, but I'm just saying like the chaos like
actually Smart could have had a game winner before they had headed to OT. He had a wide open shot from deep and it hit the rim. If he made that shot, the Celtics would be up 3-1. I'm looking at Jaylen Brown right here, and if you look at this on the stat line, you were like, oh my God, Jaylen Brown was so efficient from the field. Like he was 10 from 16, a +5, really good from the field. 44 minutes though. If Jaylen Brown's that hot, as a coach, I would probably give him the hot hand. I would give him the ball more because he's hot from the field, 10 for 16 compared to Jason Tatum, who's 9 for 20. And there's been this talk about like, is it Jaylen Brown's team? Is it Jason Tatum's team? Like, is Jason Tatum better than Jaylen Brown? It's different every single game because you never know who's going to go off, either Brown or Tatum. And I feel like Brown, based on his efficiency that night, should have been given the ball more.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brown definitely should have gotten the ball more. You feed the hot hand. He's probably been the best player on the Celtics in the playoffs this year and last year. Like, obviously, people want to say it's Tatum. Like, he's the star, but I really do think this is Brown's team. And I think he doesn't even get that respect. And that could be the rumors of him leaving. But
to Houston.
Yeah, sure.
To Houston.
So, I mean, Jaylen Brown's been the best player on this team, and he's doing it all in his Batman mask. Like, is he actually injured in his face, or he just wears the mask just to wear the mask now? Like, I've seen him wear the mask for like 2 weeks. He was legitimately injured, but now I kind of just think he does it as a style to be the Dark Knight in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to it now. I'm like, oh, he's wearing the mask again. Well, all right, that's cool. I like Tatum's rebounds, though. I mean, Tatum's a good defender, no doubt. I feel like he's a better defender than Brown, but I feel like if Brown's hot, give him the ball, you know? But let's look at the 76ers. Say what you want about James Harden's performance. PJ Tucker, he doesn't shoot the ball much at all, but when he does, it's always impactful. Whether it's an and one or it's a shot from the wing, like, oh, that and one was crazy. Especially with PJ Tucker being like, what, 6'9", 6'8", against like Robert Williams on that rebound. He's able to get that ball and get an and one and tie the game. Like, that was when most Philly fans thought that, oh, they blew a 15-point lead and like it's going to be pretty much over. And you know, let's caught this up as being down in a 3-1 hole. Hey, you know what? PJ Tucker is a Rockets legend, all right? He's been doing that ever since he got into Houston. One of the best corner wing shooters in the NBA, all right? I love PJ Tucker. Joel Embiid actually had a pretty good game. I kind of want to see a lot more of this from Embiid, just being a bully in the paint and getting to the free throw line. I kind of want to see that more of him, and he did exactly that. I mean, only had 3 fouls, and you know how he fouls a lot? Like, he fouls a lot in games. He gets into foul trouble. Only had 3 fouls. And that's great. Like 34, 13. I mean, yeah, he can be inefficient from the field, which is fine. But as long as he earns his shots from the line, I think that's going to be very key for the Sixers down the stretch in this series. I do see the Boston Celtics taking this series, even though the Sixers have a puncher's chance. Also, the Phillies, if you want to know, the Phillies did take 2 out of 3 out of the Astros a couple weeks ago, and so I still have a little bit of bad blood from that. The Astros are not playing very well; they kind of suck this year. But we're not talking about basketball. Hey, quit praying! Stop that! Stop. Tobias Harris, he needs to be more efficient. There was that game where it was without Embiid, where he was very efficient from the elbow. I think it was game 1, and it was when Harden was pretty much facilitating the entire offense. I want to see more of that from Tobias Harris. But, you know, Harden and Embiid, if they go off like this, if Harden plays to his own strengths and Embiid gets to the line a lot, Phillies are not Phillies. Oh my God, Sixers are in good shape. My God,
Man, you're so salty from the
I
Phillies,
got
aren't you?
PTSD right now, dude. I really do.
You're so salty.
Yeah. Anything else you got to say about this, Brian?
I mean, the only thing I want to say is we talked about how the last series, the Lakers-Warriors, was probably the most boring just because every game's been a blowout. I feel like this series has been the most entertaining, or at least one of them.
It's been like unexpected because I didn't think Harden still had this in him. I thought he was just going to be, just facilitator, get a 2010 performance here and there. I really enjoy this series quite a bit. I mean, I don't expect Harden to get 42 points in the next game, but hopefully, I already said this like 9 times. Hopefully he plays more calculative and plays to his strengths and doesn't be overly aggressive like he was in games 2 and 3, where he just chucks the ball from deep and more heavily contested shots than none. I don't really see any sort of issue with Embiid, even though he has that LCL sprain. He's still wearing the knee brace, and he did mention that it took 4 to 6 weeks to actually heal 100%. So he's playing through a really serious injury. Yeah, I mean, do you think Missoula is a better coach than Udoka? Was he playing through Udoka's system?
I like Missoula, but I think Udoka is a better coach.
That's right.
Oh, here we go. Here's another Houston reference.
That's right.
Let me get. Yeah, according to Jeremy, James Harden, Jaylen Brown joining LeBron on the Rockets. They're bringing back PJ Tucker, bringing back Eric Gordon. It's this Rockets super team. They're also drafting Wemby.
We're drafting. We can 14% chance of drafting Wemby. Come on, dude. Let's get to the Nuggets and Suns. This is also a game that I had no idea would go at least 6 games now. I had no idea. I thought the Nuggets would beat them in 5 because they just have the Suns just have KD and Book, but they've been using a lot more of their bench, and they finally used TJ Warren more in this series, and he's been pretty good.
Warren, baby. Warren.
He's been actually pretty good, giving them some good minutes. Isn't scoring the ball as well, but has a presence on the floor. It's kind of throwing some fits for the Nuggets. I mean, the Nuggets didn't realize Phoenix could play this fast either. Their game plan, I'm assuming, was if Chris Paul's on the floor, they play a little bit more methodically, and because Chris Paul wants to facilitate and try to get all of his players open. But by the way, happy belated birthday to Chris Paul. He turns 38. He turned 38 like 2 days ago. With Chris Paul out with a groin injury, Brian, why do you think the Suns are much faster?
I think from the sole standpoint of what you just said. I mean, they play a faster game. Obviously, Cam Payne is faster than Chris Paul, and he knows his role. Because Chris Paul, he thrives off the pick and roll, rhyming accidentally. But Cameron Payne, he knows his role. He's not going to drop 15 like Chris Paul does. He's going to score when he can, get the 5 points, but he's just going to dump it off to those playmakers and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And that's kind of why they're playing faster. And I mean, I'm glad that they're finally using their bench and effectively seeing Landry Shamet drop 19 points.
That fourth quarter from Shamet was pretty good. He was playing like Ray Allen, just shooting threes like crazy. Yeah,
even getting 8 points each from Jock Landale and Terrence Ross. Like, we knocked on the Suns for not having any bench and kind of erupting that when they traded for Kevin Durant, but he's been doing good. And Terrence Ross had a solid game, 8 points and 2 rebounds with a +9. I mean, the Suns not only contributed, but they were all in the positives of the +/-. So they obviously that's crucial for the Suns. But as good as a game that the Suns had, I think they really won the game by not being able to let Jokic rebound the ball and get those second chance points. I mean, Durant had a game high 11 rebounds in this game. Nikola Jokic had an incredible 50-piece double-double with 53 points and 11 assists. But he only had 4 rebounds, Jeremy. 4 rebounds. That's really where they lost the game in a 5-point game. Those rebounds go the other way. I mean, Zach, how many offensive rebounds total did the Suns have this game?
I'm just kidding. 10.
They had 10.
Only
so,
a 10.
Assuming they scored on half of those, so 5, that's like a 6-point game or something. That would have been enough for the Nuggets to win. The fact that Jokic only had 4 rebounds when Michael Porter Jr. had 10. Jamal Murray had more rebounds than Nikola Jokic.
What's funny is that Jokic didn't really – I mean, yeah, he had 11 assists, but when I saw the game, he had 6 turnovers. He didn't really play exactly well when he had the ball in his hands or when he was facilitating. He wanted to be more aggressive in the paint. Like, he had I think 4 or 5 possessions where he was just bullying DeAndre Ayton. And then you also had Meyer. Yeah, bring him on. Bring him on, man. Bring him on. What's up, Meyer? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good. He is one of our BSP riders, and actually, I have a question for you, Meyer. So how did the Phoenix Suns, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but how did the Phoenix Suns kind of win this game, even with Chris Paul out, like one of their main facilitators? I mean, you had pretty much the 2 main stars in KD and Devin Booker, scoring as well as they usually do. But what was the main key factor the Suns winning game 3 here, or game 4?
I would say the others stepping up, particularly Landry Shamet.
Yeah.
His 5 3-pointers.
Yeah, dude, I would say so too, man. Landry Shamet was kind of like Ray Allen in the series.
Yeah, I saw the meme on Instagram.
Oh, you did? Yeah. I think I saw some on Twitter where it was like I saw a picture on Twitter where it's like Landry Shamet in quarter 4, and it was like Ray Allen in a Heat jersey about to shoot that shot that he got from Chris Bosh, that pass. But we were talking about before you joined on, me and Brian, we talking about how Jokic didn't really facilitate the ball well this game, even though he had 53 points. He kind of just was trying to wield his team to win with his offense and not facilitating. You could kind of see how he was just going full bully ball in the paint against Ayton, against Kevin Durant, against Devin Booker. Like, even whoever switched on him, he was still very, very aggressive in the paint. 20 for 30, like, that's just insane. Me and Brian, I mean, we prefer him as our MVP over Embiid. That's just our personal opinion.
In my opinion, I feel like Jokic and Embiid have won each other's MVPs. So I feel like Embiid should have won last year, and Jokic, I feel like had a better case this year than he did last year.
That's an interesting opinion. I actually kind of agree with the fact that, because like last year, I remember saying like Jokic should be runner up, like MVP should be against should be for Embiid, because he was pretty much wielding his team to the playoffs. I mean, Harden wasn't really playing well. He was kind of just a facilitator, had those hamstring issues at the time, and he just was traded like along to the Sixers, and it was pretty much Embiid the whole show, and Ben Simmons wasn't really doing anything. He was out. So I do kind of agree that Embiid kind of carrying and wielding his team to win over to the playoffs last season pretty much deserved his MVP. And for me this year, I think it's sort of just like Embiid is the MVP because of like the narrative, because since Jokic won back-to-back MVPs, it should be Embiid this time. And I don't know. I disagree. Like, Jokic, he's probably one of the most efficient big men in the NBA, probably the best in the NBA. But Embiid's probably the best center in the East. It's kind of my opinion on that. No disrespect to Giannis. It's just that Giannis obviously got bounced in the first round. And that's kind of just dictates how, like,
by an AC.
By an AC. Well, I mean, Zach, I'm saying that in terms of like runner up, because Giannis was also a third. Isn't Giannis like everything? Like small forward, power forward, center, like Like, isn't he everything though?
He's like a hybrid.
He's a hybrid.
You can't really call him any of those positions.
Yeah, like he's like 6'10", 6'11", so I'm pretty sure that's kind of how it works there. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how I see with Phoenix. Now, with the Nuggets game plan for Game 5, heading back to their home court in Denver, I feel like they're definitely going to focus more on how Booker and KD distribute the basketball, because Booker's playing the best brand of basketball in his career. The best. He hasn't had a much better season than this year, especially with the addition of KD. And I want y'all's opinion on this. I'm seeing like a lot of tweets on how Devin Booker's like could you like warrant Devin Booker as a superstar now? And I'm actually kind of against this. I disagree that Booker is a superstar. I think he's a star. I don't think he's a superstar.
I think it's simple. I think the addition of Kevin Durant makes it a lot easier for him. You know, it takes all the pressure off of him to play hero ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also think he is a superstar. I mean, but to add on to Meyer's point, the addition of Kevin Durant, because let's be honest, it was just Devin Booker there. Like, Bridges didn't really have the chance to erupt like he did in Brooklyn, so he was kind of just like a solid like three supporting caster, a solid role player, Sam McCann Johnson. Booker was the one getting all these double teams, and he was still balling. I mean, Zach, our stat guy here, first player since Michael Jordan to average 35 points per game through first 8 games of the postseason. Big-time players have big-time moments. Devin Booker is a superstar. We saw Shaq apologize on Booker's behalf last night after the Game 4 performance. Devin Booker is a superstar. Like, there's no – like, Denver Nuggets are a legit title contending team, and you look at how poor or how piss poor the Suns' depth is and bench is, and you look, and there's no realistic chance they should be in this series. But the fact that it's 2-2 and it's close, as good as Durant is, I really think it's because of Booker, and he's been this X factor for this team. And I think he deserves that superstar honor. I really do. Because notice also, as soon as he gets there and kind of breaks out, the Suns go from they were the laughing stock in the league for years, and now they've been legit title contenders. I mean, I still think they should have beat Milwaukee or at least made it closer, but that's in the past. But I really do think Booker is a superstar.
Here's the thing, though. With Booker being as efficient as he has been in this series and then the series with the Clippers, he's always been able to get really good shots. I mean, he was drafted as pretty much a catch-and-shoot guy, and then he developed throughout the Suns' turmoil, being this rebuilding team for like the next 7 years in his career. A guy who can create his own shot, can drive to the basket, fadeaways, up and under layups, all that stuff. And the thing is, though, he's been able to get 25 to 30-plus points per game every season, but whenever he's the only superstar that can score on his own, he hasn't been able to perform well in the playoffs because of that. It's only been some games. It's only been a few games here and there in the playoffs where he's been able to perform well. If he can't perform well, then Chris Paul performs well. Or if you can't perform well, then DeAndre Ayton performs well. It's not him performing well on a consistent basis along with another co-star who can do the same. And so with Durant, knowing him and his whole accolades and his career and stuff like that, he's been around since 2007. Been, of course, one of the best players to ever play the game of basketball. He's always going to put 25, 30 points on efficient shooting. Always. He's always been an efficient shooter from the get-go. And I think that really scares the Nuggets, especially with the Suns' pace of play and their increase on the fast breaks, especially last night. Booker is pretty much wide open on almost every possession because Durant's being double-teamed. If Booker double-teamed, he passes it to Durant. So, it's just give and go every single possession. And that gives Booker a lot of chances to hit really well-created shots. Like, he has a lot of good shot selection with this. So that's why he's scoring 14 for 18 this game. That's why he scored 20 for 25 in the previous game. That's why he's scoring so efficiently in his career, because he has nobody to guard him well or defend him well because he got Durant on the other side. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with your point, Brian, but I just don't really find a superstardomness. I just kind of feel like he's just because with his defense, there's that too. Like he's not that great on defense. He isn't.
I think he's knocking on the door, if anything.
You think he's what?
I think he's knocking on the door of superstardom, if anything.
Okay. I mean, I'll have to see if he continues this barrage of performances maybe next season or the season after that, because he's still got a lot of career left in him. Booker's only, 28, 27? I'm pretty sure.
He's 26.
26? Oh, shit. He's got way more years left in the tank. It feels like he's been here forever, you know? So that's kind of my take right now with Booker, because he was always sort of like a high levity scorer, even with the rebuilding years on with the Phoenix Suns from like 2014 to like 2020. And then with that 8-game win streak in the bubble, that's kind of when we discovered, okay, Devin Booker, along with that 70-point game that they lost against the Celtics, that's when we kind of realize that, yeah, Booker can score. He's a scorer, but is he a superstar scorer? That's kind of where I draw the line, where like he's not there yet. He could get there. He just he has to add more defensive prowess to his game and be able to incorporate his other players and make his players better, which he did with those 12 assists. I think so. He does have that capability, but I don't think it's there yet. I don't think that's disrespect, Brian. By the way, I'm not putting I'm not saying he's a superstar yet, but I'm being very, very modest with this take. Like I'm not going to say he's there yet.
I was gonna say there are very few superstars in the NBA, in my opinion. I think you have to be like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Kawhi. You have to be that caliber for me to consider you a superstar.
That's a good question, Brian. Where do I have Booker ranked in the league? I would say he's in the top 15. I don't think he's top 5. I don't think he's top 10. I think he's in the top 15, between probably 10 and 15, in my opinion. I would probably say he's like number 14. There's loads of other players. I think when it comes to being top 10, those are superstars. So I guess I'm in kind of Meyer's boat too, where like he's kind of knocking on the door, but will the door open for Booker?
I got him top 10. And I probably have him at 10.
Okay. All right. I respect your opinion, man. I mean, I just have a little bit more of a expectation for that. Like I think of players who are really good offensive players who weren't really superstars, like Steve Francis, Gilbert Arenas, just players that can pretty much score but really can't defend much. They don't really have much of an impact on defense or facilitation.
Reggie Miller's another one. I look at Devin Booker in that same vein.
Oh yeah. Actually, was Reggie Miller ever a good defender?
He wasn't really known for that.
Yeah, he was known for his threes because he was like top 5 in threes. So, it'll have to see. Like he's only 26 years old. You know, we don't have to get a huge in depth on Devin Booker at this point, but for Booker's got tons of NBA life left. I mean, maybe we'll revisit this conversation once Booker hits his prime, maybe 28, 29. Reggie Miller has a career defensive rating of 108. That's not terrible. That's pretty, slightly above average. But Meyer, we did cover most of the playoff previews and the playoff games last night. Just give me a brief take on all of them. What's your take on the Celtics and Sixers?
My take on that was that from here on out, Philly has to play through Harden if they want to win the rest of the series. I don't feel like playing through Embiid in the clutch is going to be sustainable for them.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Harden has to play more aggressive or play up pretty much more calculative in the series going forward?
A little bit of both, but he has to pick his spots well. That's going to be the key.
Yeah, he's 33 years old. His legs aren't what they used to be back in Houston. I was talking with Brian earlier that Harden's scoring those 42 points and 45 points because he's able to be in the right spot at the right time. And he's able to kind of watch the Celtics defensive game plan on him and sort of exploit it instead of just like have that first quick first step to the basket like he used to back in Houston when his legs were young and athletic. I don't think he can do that anymore because whenever he's doing floaters a lot sooner.
And they're shorter now. I know.
Yeah, they're shorter. He's not jumping up. His verticality isn't that high. Whenever he does those dribble moves, they're not like consecutive. It's kind of like a little bit short, and then he stops and then pulls up for a three once he sees an opening. So to the Houston fans who think he's back, he's always had this in him. It's just that sometimes he plays too aggressively and goes 3 for 18 and thinks he's like, hero ball and stuff like that.
But sometimes he's too passive too.
Yeah.
But it's all about balance with him.
It's all about balance. You're right. Hey, Meyer just joined the podcast, man. I even though I referred Harden like 6 times already, why wouldn't you refer Harden? Why wouldn't you? Like he's been balling out in games 1 and 4. Do you see the Celtics beating the Sixers still in a best of 3 series?
It's definitely possible because of the depth that they have, but they just got to be more disciplined when it matters.
Yeah, they seem a little bit too careless with the basketball down the stretch. It kind of seems like Jason Tatum is given the ball more, even with Jaylen Brown being really hot from the field goal. And even if he's hot, they still don't give him the ball. Like he's sort of like they're the second co-star, if you will. What do you think of the Warriors and Lakers right now?
I think for the Lakers to win that series, they have to continue to play their game. I think in game 2, they were trying to play Golden State's game, which is shooting the 3 ball instead of getting to the paint. And that's why they didn't shoot as many free throws. But you see, in game 3, they shot a lot more free throws because they were playing their own game. So they have to continue on with that. And AD, he can't just show up to work every other game. He has to put together 2 consecutive games of great basketball.
I want to give James Harden and Anthony Davis the unexcused absence award because they've been playing really good in the games that they think matter, and then the next consecutive games they don't play it. They completely take a back seat. So unexcused absence award to
even
Anthony
though it
Davis
happens though. It happens to playoff basketball. You're gonna have bad games, but you gotta respond though.
Yeah, you gotta respond. For LeBron, I just know he's gonna take a backseat this game because he's like 37, 38. He needs to rest his legs.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
And we haven't had that signature LeBron game yet. This play.
I don't know if we ever will though. I don't know if we'll ever have that Detroit Pistons game, Celtics Miami Heat game, or Cavs Pacers game, or I don't think we'll ever have that. I'm just not sure. He's just kind of too old at this point. I'm not saying he's washed. Definitely not. No, he's LeBron, but he's not like,
I'm not saying he has to do it every game, but I think he got a couple performances in him where he could put on his cape.
Yeah. Did you say Brian?
In Houston. You still
Brian
stuck
said
on
LeBron.
the Houston thing?
No. Like LeBron had his chance to come to Houston.
Oh, yeah, 2018.
Yeah, he had his chance, but he chose the bright lights in Hollywood.
Honestly,
right?
I don't think that would have worked anyway because all 3, CP3, Harden, LeBron, they all need the ball. So I don't think that would have worked.
Well, CP3 and Harden worked well the first year. I agree with you the fact with LeBron and Harden or LeBron and CP because they both need the ball. Yeah. I think LeBron joining Houston would probably like make Harden a 3-point 3-and-D player. That's what it is.
Same thing with the Philly scenario. A lot of people were saying he should have went to Philly, but spacing wise, that wouldn't have worked either.
Yeah, no.
So LA was the best scenario.
I mean, we all kind of knew it because Bronny was going he like switched high schools or something. Bronny, and like he switched high schools to high school in LA, and now he's going to USC. The game or the team where Bron plays with his son is getting closer than before. Like it's the first ever James family member.
Oh, yeah, to go to college.
To go to college.
Yeah, he did talk about that.
Yeah, he did talk about that during the interview. So, but it'll only be 1 year. I mean, he's just going to play for 1 year and get be a top 5 pick, obviously, and then he's going to want to go play with his dad or something. So,
I'm not sure about being top 5, but he could probably go like lottery.
Lottery, okay, yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that.
yeah. That'll be weird though, having Bronny play with his dad. It'd be pretty weird.
But it's a first time for everything.
Yeah. The only way to do that is to have kids at 19. Like the first year, your rookie year, is to have kids. Like if you're aiming to have your kid play with you in the NBA, go for that.
And you also gotta last long in the NBA.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, LeBron James has had pretty much the poster child basketball career of his life. So, he's 6'6".
No, Bryce is 6'6".
Bryce. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Bronny is 6'2".
Yeah,
Bronny's
6'3". Bronny's 6'3".
Bronny's 6'3". He's gonna get taller, right? Or no?
Nah, he's not.
He hasn't grown in a couple years.
Bronny's 6'3". Yeah, he's gonna live in his father's shadow for sure.
And he's a hybrid between a point and a shooting guard.
Yeah.
Imagine your dad being 6'9" and you're 6'3".
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Happens, but you gotta make the best with your genes.
You'll be at least 6 foot, but will you be able to play basketball at 6'8", 6'7"? Damn, it sucks.
He shoots better than his father, though.
Yeah. Okay, that means if you're 6'2", 6'3", you got to shoot better.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the way the game is going now. That's tough, Zach.
Yeah, that's really tough,
That
man.
sucks, Zach.
Yeah. Zach's dad is 6'3", and he's 5'10.5". Pain.
Meyer, I know there's one series that you didn't offer your insight on, and I know you rate the Knicks, so maybe you'll be a little more positive than I was.
That's right. I forgot about that.
What's your opinion on the Knicks series? Is this the start to our Cancun trip?
We got to see what happened. We got to see how the Knicks respond in Game 4. But I feel like so far, I think the Knicks' inexperience is starting to show. And Miami, I feel like Miami, they look like a team that's been there before. And the Knicks, they just look like a team that doesn't know what they don't know yet. And it's showing on the court.
Yeah. I actually mentioned a couple episodes ago that the Miami Heat have like the sleeper build team. And if you know what like a sleep build is, obviously like, they look kind of scrawny, but like once they like, take their shirts off at the beach, they're like, fucking jacked as shit. And they're, they go to the gym like 5-6 days a week secretly. And like nobody knows about that. That's the Miami Heat. Like Zach, I didn't say they were bulky. I said like they're defined, they're lean, Oh God. Oh dude. Y'all suck. Y'all suck, man.
Hey, those are your words.
Pause.
You put them in the same sentence.
Anyways. Yeah, that's Cut the Nets. We're gonna stop here. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a like and subscribe. Stop it. Y'all suck. Not you, Meyer. You're pretty dope. Brian, my co-host, is. All right. Drop a like and subscribe. Helps the algorithm a lot. And also click on notifications to be notified for the next Cut the Nets podcast episode. I'm Jeremy. This is Brian and Meyer. Thanks for joining us.